Welcome to the first video ever of D&D Daily. My name is Sage, and at D&D Daily, we're going to be trying to release D&D videos every single day. Our focus is on providing you with D&D information and inspiration, about 80% inspiration, about 20% information. Today we're going to be doing a flavor build. Our flavor build series is focused on making characters that are not only mechanically interesting, but also have some backstory to help you have a place to start. In no way is this meant for it to be copy and pasted, but it's rather to give you a seed of inspiration to make your own unique characters. We hope you enjoy. Today on Flavor Builds, we're going to be talking about Fang, a new and improved Tempest Cleric. A few details about the Flavor Build series before we jump into it is that our focus is going to be on building characters that are level 10 and below. This is because we think that your character should be interesting early as opposed to having to wait 15 levels to get there, if your campaign ever does, that is. We are not power gamers. We are not trying to create the most technical, optimized character to squeeze out the most power it can possibly have. We like our characters to be effective, but we're far more interested in having them be interesting both in combat and out of combat. Flavor is far more important to us than power level. In order to play Fang, you are going to need to be a bronze metallic Dragonborn, as well as a Tempest Domain Cleric, and to take the feat, the gift of the Chromatic Dragon. Fang sat listening to the beat of Bahamut's wings, which caused thunder, and the crack of his tail, known as lightning. He loved the storm. His mother told him it was dangerous to stand in high places during the storm, but Fang just couldn't help it. This is where he felt right. He felt he belonged and could connect to his god here. The other bronze Dragonborn just seemed so stuffy, he thought, as rain soaked his scales. It's not that he didn't believe in law and justice, he just didn't get why they had to talk about it all the time. Why couldn't they just let loose once in a while and enjoy the rain and thunder? This relationship with his people was consistent through his childhood. He loved them and respected them, but he couldn't deny that he was just different than them. His soul wanted to explore, reach for the sky, and to boom with joy. His people simply wanted order. Well, not just order. If there was one thing that distracted his people from law and order, it was the Blue Dragon and her Dragonborn. Their tribes have been having battles off and on for the past century, with no one side gaining ground over the other. Because he was thinking about the Blue Dragon, it took his brain a second to realize that the Blue Dragon he was thinking of was moving directly towards him through the storm. The Blue Dragon let loose a fierce lightning bolt that nearly killed Fang outright. Injured and barely conscious, Fang laid in the pouring rain and looked to the sky. Here he had a front row seat of the clash of dragons that had begun. The bronze dragon that led his clan tore into the blue dragon above him. Claws ripped scales, lightning that wasn't of Bahamut filled the sky. Before long, a rain of dragon blood joined the rain of Bahamut. The blue dragon was routed, but not before her blood spilled onto the injured Fang below. Unable to move, the revolting blood dripped into his mouth, and he had no choice but to swallow. He may have died there, scales singed, choking on revolting blood, had he not been so close to his god's presence. As he faded from consciousness, he felt the warmth of his divine deity's attention turned towards him. He survived, and the experience of the storm convinced him that his people's laws and justice were secondary to the will of Bahamut. He devoted himself full-heartedly to his service. Though he survived the storm, he was not unchanged by it. It's said that the blood of dragons carry gifts. Though Fang didn't see a drastic difference, he knew something in him had changed from consuming the blue dragon blood. What that was, he could only wait to find out. Listening to the call of his god, Fang left his people to set out into the world, not knowing a destination or the reason why, but having faith that his god was leading him to where he needed to be. As a fun side note, the blood that he consumed from the blue dragonborn will manifest at level 4 as the gift of the Chromatic Dragon feat. Like Fang's bronze dragon counterparts, he is extremely honorable, to a fault. He will not lie, he will not do underhanded or deceitful things, he will be straightforward and honorable. He believes in law and order just like his brethren, but he also has the soul of a storm raging in his veins. He may believe in law and order, but chaos is in his soul. He's torn between his bronze nature and his tempest disposition. He is a devout champion of his deity Bahamut. As such, He scorns evil and has no tolerance for evil creatures, but tempers this hatred with deep compassion. He has near limitless compassion for the downtrodden, the dispossessed, and the helpless. If he can help it, he will do his very best not to kill his enemies outright, but will try and find another way. There are, however, exceptions to this rule. The unredeemable demons, devils, undead, and the like are only meant to be expunged from this world. Stormfang also still has an issue with blue dragons and Dragonborn, but he doesn't consider them irredeemable, so though he may not like them, he'll still give them a chance. In combat, Stormfang is a battle caster, bringing heavy armor, blade, and magic to battle. He enters battle wearing plate armor and a shield, while wielding a flail. His instances of lightning or thunder damage can be made to do maximum damage by using one of his channeled divinities. This is best used on big AoE spells that hit multiple people like Shatter, Call Lightning, and Destructive Wave. He also uses his Wrath of the Storm feature to deal 2d8 on a failed save of lightning damage to anyone who damages him in melee. Half that damage will be done if they succeed their saving throw. When Stormfang hits level 6, he gets Thunderous Strike, and this is when he becomes quite the crowd controller on top of his damage dealing battle mage things. Anytime he deals lightning damage to the enemy, they are knocked back 10 feet away from him, so long as they are large or smaller. Being a bronze metallic dragonborn, this includes all of your breath attacks, as well as the lightning damage that you can add to your weapon using the gift of the Chromatic Dragon feat. Combine this with his reaction lightning damage and a couple of lightning damage spells, and you have a dragonborn who can toss enemies all over the battlefield in most encounters. Utilizing his breath weapon attack or his AoE lightning spell Call Lightning, he is able to hit multiple enemies at once with lightning damage. This allows his ability to do knockback on lightning damage to hit multiple enemies. So unlike other Dragonborn, his breath attack not only does lightning damage, it also is like a wave that pushes everyone back away from him. Useful in so many situations. Forced movement has a lot of application for taking advantage of hazards, creating space for teammates, and separating enemies that work better together. Stormfang is best utilized with a flexible mind and attention to the battlefield. This is all without mentioning that he is in fact a cleric that can still do cleric things. Healing, support, utility, and damage are all in the cleric's wheelhouse. Out of combat, Stormfang acts as a lookout and as the party's muscle, though he does not specialize in either. He can also use Cleric's flexible spell list to support and adjust to the team's needs. Some days they may need some guidance from his god, other days they need some extra firepower. He can adjust to those situations. During Stormfang's downtime, he'll help the downtrodden, the dispossessed, and the helpless. He'll go out of his way to feed the hungry, to give money to the poor, and to help those who are being bullied by somebody stronger than them. He'll explore and enjoy the world. After all, it's a beautiful art piece created by his deity. It would be a shame not to enjoy it. Finally, he'll be listening for his god's signs of what he should do next. He knows he has a purpose, but it's his responsibility to listen and find out what that purpose is. The most common sign he looks for is the storm. He listens to Bahamut's thunder-cracking wings and his tail lightning strikes. These he will read as signs and will pay attention to them to guide him to his next mission. The key mechanics of playing Stormfang is that he is reliant on a high wisdom, strength, and constitution. He needs at least a 15 in strength to get the heaviest of plate, but he would prefer more so he can hit more of those attacks to push people around. Now, strength is important, but wisdom is more important. More often than not, he'll be using his thunder and lightning spells to be proccing his abilities. So maximize your wisdom before you maximize your strength. While constitution is important for almost everybody, it's extra important for Stormfang because his breath attacks also use the constitution modifier to make sure that those are hitting. No character is perfect, and Stormfang is no exception. He has some weaknesses. Because he is reliant on having 3 high stats, his other 3 stats suffer. By having a low dex, you have a severe weakness to dex saving throws, which despite your high AC can wear down your HP fast. This is somewhat mitigated by the second feature of the gift of the Chromatic Dragon feat, which allows you to use your reaction to take half damage from an elemental attack. Take that, other dragons. Because of his low dex and the fact he wears heavy armor, he is atrocious at stealth. And though he has an honorable nature and would try and avoid stealth more often than not, there are going to be times when you're trying to sneak past a big monster that he is just going to be bad at. He is completely unreliable in social situations as he has charisma as a dump stat. Turns out being a storm-obsessed dragon sometimes is off-putting for people. And of course, his charisma and intelligence saving throws, though they may not come up often, they are big saving throws, and he is very likely to fail them as they are both his dump stat. As an NPC, I would use Stormfang as a champion of the good in the world, removing the unredeemable and fighting for the downtrodden. If the PCs were good, they could be wonderful friends. If they were bad, but redeemable, he would stop their evil and try and bring them back to the light. If they were deemed unredeemable, he would fight them to the death. He may show up at the player's lowest point as an ally sent by Bahamut to help. The keynote hit with Stormfang is a devout defender of the weak, who throws himself into battle. In battle, he is the storm. He strikes his enemies with lightning and tosses them into the winds. Thank you so much for being here for our first ever video of D&D Daily. We hope you will join us on many, many more to come. Because you are here, you are our kind of people, and we want to know what you think. What would you do to make Stormfang different? How would you make him better or more flavorful? Let us know in the comments below. Down there, you can also let us know what you thought of this video by giving us either a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either way, it's going to help us know what kind of content you're looking for. And on the next episode of D&D Flavor Builds, we're going to be talking about the Enchantress, a master of manipulation. Hit that subscribe button because you're not going to want to miss it. See you next time.